What is going on, everybody? Another X3 video, and this one, I'm sure like many of them, is gonna be a little polarizing in the comment section. I'm gonna talk about what I was told from Dr. John Jaquish, the owner and one of the owners and creator of the X3 system, just how many of these were sold. And then I thought I'd just touch on personally what I've been finding, kind of doing some reviews and talking about this thing as objective as I can to it, even though I am an affiliate, why I think this product is so successful. Because I can tell you guys, in the comment section, but certainly even emails I get to people when I talk to you one-on-one, people do love this product despite a lot of the negative hate it also gets. And I understand kind of where both sides are kind of coming from. But I think there's some stuff to kind of learn that is very interesting to kind of dissect, why these things are selling as many as they are. But certainly drop your comments down in the comment section if you guys want to chime in on what you guys have to say about it. I know there's probably a lot to say, especially once you guys hear these numbers. So before I give you guys that number that was told to me of how many units were sold, let's first describe, what comes in an X3 package, especially if you guys are new and don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So the X3 is a resistance band system. It's not obvious. You get a small platform, this kind of relatively small bar, and you get about 4 resistance bands. There's some upgraded bands you can get too if you wanted to, but basically that package of the band, the bar, and the foot plate is, I think it's $549. That's excluding any kind of promotional discount code or whatever, or sale they're running. Shameless plug, I do have a code down below if you guys are curious. Gotta throw that in there. That's what you're getting though. Initially, that can seem very offensive at that price, and I totally understand that. That kind of is part and parcel with the owner and creator, John Jaquish. I've had him many times. I like him, said that in past videos, but he can be a little abrasive, much like this price is, I think, initially when people first look at it. So according to John, the number of units sold, I'm just taking him at his word for it. He said I could share this, and I asked him this a couple months ago, is 400,000 X3 units. That's 400,000 setups that you guys just saw here. Now, you may or may not believe that, but what I can definitely say, just going off of resale value, what I'm seeing on eBay, and this has been going on for a few years now, people seem to, I definitely think people are buying these and they're selling a lot based on the success of the company and the ads and the marketing behind it. But I'm just not seeing many of these things even being resold. So on eBay, you'll always see a bunch of watchers. You barely see a few up there. It's not like you're seeing a lot of buyer's remorse of people buying these things and then just getting rid of them really quickly at a discounted price. It really does seem like people are holding on to these things. They're even selling older foot plates and older bars for the same kind of price. So I think that says something as far as the value that people are actually still holding on to them. And I think that has to do something also with the community, which I'll touch on here in a second. The other good indicator that these things are doing really well is the fact that these have spawned other kind of offshoots and other kind of copycat type models and systems, and just other people just really capitalizing and using loop style bands with a bar. I said in the past, I'm a good person to really talk about this, honestly, because like many people first saw this, I saw that price and I was like, there's no way, that's crazy, and I would never buy that. The hype got so big, many of you guys have asked me to check it out and review it. Then once I did pull the trigger and review it, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see this because I actually was having a lot of fun. It felt really, really good. And I aesthetically did start to kind of really fall in love with how the system looked, even though there are still some objections and some issues I personally have with it. But my point is, I can kind of understand it. And I think that's what happens to people initially. When they first kind of see the product, they're a little bit abrasive, especially even, seeing maybe John or some of the ads for it. They might roll their eyes at it. But all that negativity or even positive, marketing or all the marketing dollars puts a lot of eyes in the product, and all those constant kind of eyes in the product, are going to eventually kind of convert to some sort of sales and just help sales in general. But as much marketing dollars and sales, I think, behind a product, I think that can only go so far. And so these are, I think, the other facets that I really think make the X3 system so successful, and why I have so many people still reaching out to me, really just telling me how much they love it and how they use it. First of which I think is just in the simplistic nature of the design of the product and also its programming. So all you're getting literally is just a bar and a foot plate and some bands, which is very basic. And then you have a system, or just the product itself is being built to the fact that, yeah, this is all you need to get great results in 10 minutes a day. Now, whether you believe that or not, that's gonna be up to you, but I can tell you based on the number of people I've talked to, because I don't do this as a standalone system, I never did. It was something I kind of did a few exercises on here or there. I think I did do it for like a period of like a month and a half where I was like actually doing just full bore, just this. What I have heard, many people have actually written and just told me these things, that they're seeing the best success they've seen in years. And I think it is because of the simplistic nature. They really have no excuses, and they also have that community side to it, like I already alluded to and we'll get to. But the fact is that, yeah, this is basically it. There's no excuses. You could do it in the middle of the night. You could travel with it. you bring this thing to work. And that's a lot of the people that kind of tell me is like they have this kind of zero excuse system they can just pick up and do anywhere that's pretty mindless, with only the programming is just total of 8 exercises, 4 exercises on each day. I think they have like a minimal, I think it's like 4 times a week, total. And when it comes to progressions, you can do a lot of specific tracking if you really wanted to, but for most people, it's very simple in the programming. You just simply count or try and beat the previous number you got before in full repetitions and the partial repetitions with whatever band you're using. So I think that also makes it easier for a lot of people. Next, from simplicity, I think you have to talk about the design. I think the initial design of X3 wasn't that attractive, which kind of makes sense why they changed it with their black bar. John said, and I've said this in other videos, that he said he wanted to make this kind of look like a lightsaber, and I can appreciate that. Even though I have so many other bars and other systems, and some that I kind of been using more so than this. I just did a review on this F2 bar. It's kind of modular, it's all in pieces. It's definitely more complex, but this thing is very simple and aesthetic looking, and that's why I will never probably get rid of this thing. I say probably, you caught me there. I don't think I really would. I have too much of the kind of memories behind this and emotional attachment to I just like the branding of it. And I'm not one of those people who honestly likes branding. I wore this shirt for a reason, because I think of this as kind of like how I view Nike, in the sense that I don't really watch a lot of sports. I don't have any affiliation with any kind of athlete who wears Nike. But whenever I go to a store, I end up always gravitating towards those Nike products, so they just fit me and I aesthetically like the way they look, even though I don't really want to like them. It's like I want to be that person who just wears generic stuff. Whenever something's really popular, I kind of would like skew away from it. This is the opposite, where this is something that I kind of started to fall in love with just because aesthetically, I just like the way it looks. Now, that's not going to be for everybody, but I think the way this looks, also paired with the bands. Another stupid thing I'll admit is that whenever I'm doing an X3 thing, I always want to grab their bands. I do like the way their bands feel, but I don't usually never want to grab like my other colored ones. I kind of like the aesthetics, how these look. Super stupid, I know, but I think there's something to be said about the design. And then following up from this, I think this kind of goes hand in hand, is the community aspect. X3 really builds on and is masters at the group cohesiveness factor. That's the whole idea, and it's in business and everything else, but also exercise psychology, that people's results would be much better if you get a group of people that are really organized and like the same kind of, you could say, cult-like mentality. That's where X3 people kind of get accused of. Now, you can say they're like a cult or this kind of dogmatic, but I think any company, if they're honest, really wants to build that community. Obviously, to increase sales, it keeps people accountable, keeps them kind of staying with it, because if you didn't have the community, people might try this, they don't really know how to use it, so they give up. But if you got a community there, you're kind of part of something a little bit bigger, they help each other out, and you're kind of more invested in the system, you kind of see what's possible, etc. So I think they're really masters of that group community or group cohesiveness, so much so that this has spawned off counter groups, such as, I'm not saying this is exactly the case, but other products like Harambe, which is almost like a counter X3 kind of community, it seems like. And I don't really know, because I'm not in any one of the particular groups. I don't really know exactly what goes on. But I think, again, with any product that's out there that's a system, I think building a community is so very, very valuable. On the flip side, there is definitely some negativity to that, where you get kind of in this dogmatic cult-like following where nothing goes except your way or the highway. I think that's kind of a bad way of looking at it. So for me personally, some takeaway thoughts for me, I think it's a great looking design product. I'm not big in the community aspect of it. Is it gonna be worth it to everybody? I don't know. I'm not trying to sell this thing again, my point. I just think it's interesting, to say the least, why some people might get something out of this, why it's selling so much. And those are just kind of my 2 cents on the matter. But if you guys have any thoughts on it, for sure, let me know. 400,000 units is a lot of X3s. So I'm sure you're not gonna see the end of X3 anytime soon. Could be a fad, but as of now, I don't see this train slowing down anytime soon. Let me know your thoughts on the matter, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.